Friday the 14th of October, we race in Gqeberha. We're on the turf track at Fairview, and let's begin with our 8 races carded, working alongside Paul Lafferty. Always enjoyable and looking forward to it. Race number 1, a very difficult race. This is the Work Riders maiden plate for fillies and mares over 1,200 meters, and there's Work Riders, obviously unknown, Paul, but they've had a few races there, and I've got to see some of their Work Rider races, and I'm going to stick with that form line last time out from that Work Riders race, Paul. I don't know if you agree.
Charlie.
Yeah, Champagne Charlie. I'm going to go with that. It was Red Center, Wonder Woman, Here We Go, and Antonio Augusta. Numbers 4, 5, 12, and 14 all come from that form line, Paul. I don't know if you see it that way, because these Work Riders would have got a feel, and they all ran on top of each other.
Yeah, I see this guy... Lunguzi rode this Red Center. I like this run. Both times it's got slow at the gates. I can use that term. If this horse gets away in terms, this Jodpot filly, it should have a chance.
Yeah, and Begonia coming through to frank that form. So I think 4, 5, 12, and 14, you can possibly take your pick from there. And then 2 horses that will have to keep you interested. Don't leave these ones out. Number 8, Bavarian Jet, who's a blinker strike. The form's good.
Yes.
And
Racinanti.
Racinanti, the last start.
Yeah, put a line through it.
I mean, 1,600 meters, Paul. The horse didn't see it out.
Yeah.
I don't know what went wrong there.
Put a line through it.
I think on the previous runs, that horse.
Good quartet numbers there, these.
I think we're going to go with the 6 horses. Have you ever played 6 horses in a bipod before?
No. I'm too good for that.
Well, I'm gonna do it this time, Paul. I always go for the maximum.
Okay.
Numerical order 4, 5, 8, 9, 12, and 14. Race number 1. Play around those numbers. Very difficult to try and single out that horse, as Paul mentioned, from that Champagne Charlie form line. But I think all should run well there. Difficult race, bipod race number 1. Race number 2, we're on to the place accumulator. Paul, the betting 28 to 10. Number 1, Gum Gum. Number 3, Captain Monet at 9 to 2. Seismic Event, number 6 at 5 to 2. And then I see the balance are 7 to 1 and better. How you see this?
I like Seismic Event. I thought it was a good run last time, and I think it hurt itself at the gate, but still ran well. It's a horse who doesn't seem like it wants to win this Erupt. Yes. So you've got to bring in a couple of horses. Gum Gum. Definitely got to come into number 1 from a top yard. And then I think you found this horse, Horsey.
Yeah, I like Horsey. That last start, I'm willing to forgive the horse and just draw a line through it. I think on some of its best form, when Richard Fourie rides for Alan Creef, one has to take notice, Paul.
He's some rider. I'm just wondering about, is there any money for Greek Mafia, who's coming back down to 1,000? Main aim out of a main man mare, you're not going to jump out of your seat, but it did run 4th.
Yeah, it's 66 to 1, Paul. It has to confirm. Has to confirm that.
Okay, no problem.
8 to 1. I think it has to confirm that debut run wasn't the worst. But I think Paul could be right here. The Seismic Event looks like the right roving banker. If you look at the course and distance record, it's 3 runs for 3 seconds.
That's it.
So if you're looking to play it short, 6 seismic weight. But I would go with 5 and 1. 5 and 1 as cover there. 1, 5, and 6, race number 2.
All right.
On to the third race, the start of the pick 6. And here we both like one horse, Paul. That's Gimme More Time.
Justin Snaith, Muzi Yerni.
That Cape Town form very seldom doesn't hold up.
Yes.
Especially the maidens.
Right, I agree with you. I think he hasn't brought it into town to look at the scenery. He's going to say, let's get this right. It's for Winston Chow. Let's get a win on the board for Winston. And I think a major runner.
7 to 10, Paul. Is there cover? I think we have to include number 2 in the pick 6.
Yes.
Admiral's Chance.
Definitely. Richard Fourie, Alan Creef has some form.
And the horses improved nicely with that equipment change. Last 2 runs, blinkers and tongue tie. You can see the improvement is there and getting closer all the while. 4th and a 2nd. So, number 1, Give Me More Time. You good enough for the place accumulator?
Oh, yeah, have to be.
7 to 10, number 1, Give Me More Time. A banker and the PA. Number 2, the cover in the pick 6. We're on to race number 4, which will be jackpot 1,600 meters. Need to get your bets on by 14:35. Usually in these novice plate races, the best weighted column is a guide, and it's topped by Waiting for Summer. Looks like the right horse, Paul?
Very hard to beat, I thought. Toro Langsdorff with Ryan Munger back over the mile last time.
Yes.
Ran a very good race. And I looked and I thought, well, who can beat this horse? And nothing really jumps out at me. There are horses with chances. If you look at Sharon Kotzen, she's always got horses that are competitive. And they brought that horse from 1.5 miles where it ran poorly back down to the mile, was just beaten. So you got to look at horses like that, but there's a lot of horses in here that the form isn't too good. And then I thought maybe Muzi and Justin again.
I agree with you on that one. I think Waiting for Summer, on what he's faced his last 2 runs, have a look at that. Average rating 94.86.
Yes.
Average rating 74. Novice plate. Tops the best weighted column. There was money for the horse. Lots of positives for this horse.
Three lengths beyond Pump and Power
that's
earlier.
Fantastic. If you go to some of those runs in Cape Town, Paul,
yes.
I mean, it should win this. 9 to 10 is the price of Waiting for Summer. We think it's a place accumulator banker.
Yes.
If you're looking for cover in the pick 6 and you're not convinced with one being a banker, then the Visitor with Justin Snaith has to be included. That's horse number 8. We're on to race number 5, and this is over 1,600 meters. Now, Paul, in the 5th race, number 5, Holly's View is priced up 12 to 10.
Yes.
And then the next best in the betting market is number 10 at 7 to 2. And then the balance is at 7 to 1 the field. How do you see number 5? I'll tell you, okay, let me give you my view first, Paul. The horse has been running well over shorter. I know that she's by a Fortwood.
Out of Fortwood, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood, so on the dam side, there's lots of stamina.
No doubt it'll get the trip. That's my opinion. Fortwood is a good source of stamina.
Yes.
I think it'll go. It ran close enough for me in the 1400. Got a very clever rider. The form's very strong, I thought. And then, as you say, you had a horse like Isle of the Winds.
Yes.
At 7 to 2. But Dees, when last did it place?
Yeah, I just look at the Cape form, Paul,
yes.
and it was rated a 71 down in the Cape. And I watch these Cape Town trainers. They wait for these horses to come off a reasonable mark and then travel them up to P.
Yes.
From a 70 to a 60, and then you're going to a weaker center. You're dropping your rating down in Cape Town. I mean, you're wanting to do the best for the owner and the horse. So it's a very, very clever the way they do it.
Yeah, they do it, and they do it successfully. But they obviously think about it. But sometimes you're going to come to town of the low mirror rating because your form's not good enough at home, and you've got to work out whether it's good enough in PE.
Yeah, I think that's the trick. I mean, and Justin, he seems to choose his spots very wisely, Paul. Yeah. And he has a lot of success there. So, if you would, Paul, then I think number 5 could be a banker for you in the place accumulator, but I'm suggesting cover here. And I'll tell you which horses to possibly include. I like this rough here, Paul, number 4, Scarborough Fair. Look at the draws. Wow. Look at the last 3 draws, and now gets a fair draw. I think we'll be running on smartly. 10 to 1, number 4. 5 I agree with, and then 8 and 10 will be my numbers for cover there. So 4, 5, 8, and 10 if you're not in the camp of number 5, Holly's View.
I agree with you.
On to the 6th race, Paul, and here, I don't know what you made of this race, because the horse that possibly sends the standard is Tara Lang's horse, number 10.
Definitely. If you look at Chronicles of Narnia, you've got the form there now. The other day, I think it was Mimi Apple Pie, I think that the second horse ran third. It was Miami Beach. So the form is there.
Yes.
It hasn't run many times, and I think this is the right horse to win this 3-year-old by Louis the King. Is for me my opening salvo. It was a good run out of the maidens, and as I say, the form's been franked. Fair price, 3 to 1, number 10. If you're not in the camp of number 10, then horses to look at. Number 1 has to go in. I think Juan Nell's runner, debuting in Port Elizabeth. Last start behind Mirren was a good run. And I think the Gauteng form could be good enough here. Yeah, it's going to need a bit of luck with Wayne Agrella from a very deep draw. But before we go, Owlet, quickly on Owlet. Must go in your pick 6. I think good for a lot, Paul. There wasn't given a heavy penalty for winning last time out, and did it from the worst of the draws on the poly track. Correct. And still learning the trade in Port Elizabeth as well. So I would go, if you're looking for cover there, the numbers I've included, Paul, 1, 3, 5, and 10. I agree with you. I agree with you at number 10, but I think 1, 3, 5, 10. And for the pick 6, number 2? Yes. Okay. We're on to the 7th race now, and this is the penultimate race on the card. It's over 2,400 meters. It's a Wedgwood handicap, and it's for a decent stake, Paul, 150,000. And the distance is the key at 2,400 meters. Do you think that the bookmakers have got this on the mark? 6, double check, 11 to 10, 7, Wildest Dreams, 28 to 10, and then 9 to 2, number 4. The balance
well, they seem to be not in the race.
Well, let's start with number 60s, double check, but twice over. No problem for this filly to get the trip. It's shown it before when it ran over a mile and a half, where it ran second to The Future is Bright. It's out of a strike spot, mare. This is stamina. And going back to the 2-4, I think right up its alley, Muzi, Justin Snaith, major runner.
The weight is the key as well, 52.
Absolutely. Then when one has a look at the other lightweight, Wildest Dream at 28-10, very consistent. He's very consistent.
I'll tell you what's my thinking here, Paul, and
Yes.
this I may be way off the mark. Wildest Dreams used to be with Justin Snaith.
Yes.
And obviously, with Alan Krief, the horse has come to PE, hasn't done anything wrong. But Justin will know the ability of that horse. I mean, he surely will.
It's not that easy to equate.
Yeah.
Many times people say to me, you've won with 2 babies and this baby, who's better at work? And they're going 10 furlongs. You're not going to gallop them at home over 10 furlong.
Yes.
So you let the form come through the pedigree. It's very hard to be objective unless you get horses that stand
and you
out.
never know. I mean, Wildest Dreams could have improved with Alan Krief.
Who knows? Who knows the condition? Well, they've got level weights. We'll find out who's better.
Yeah.
Just one last one I want to ask you.
Firstly,
Hearties, yes. Will it get the trip?
I think so.
And then it's a runner.
It's a runner. You have to include that. I think numbers 4, 6, and 7 good enough here. Race number 7. We're on to the last race, and I'm hoping that my good friend Laff agrees with me here, because if we're running in the PA and the Pick 6, and if you using the show as a guide, I'm going to bank a horse here and everything. The horse's name is Forest Spy, Paul, Gavin Smith, JP van der Merwe. We know how good he thinks of the horse, to travel the horse down for the gold medallion. But he looks like a fair sort, and I'm going to say 1400 at this stage of the game, maybe a bit too far for him. His sprint form is faultless.
Yeah, it's funny how we got a global view we like over a mile earlier. We like what here. Good stallion, especially down there. Very hard to beat, these. Yeah. Very hard to beat. You're not going to run 5 lengths back behind Thunderstruck. It was a very good run, showed a lot of pace. The 5 will be right up its alley. I think whatever beats us will win. I'm very confident you could bank this in your Pick 60s. East
Coast Nursery, the Dahlia Plate, the gold medallion, last time out, raced in that champion juvenile over 1400 meters. And I tell you, just go course and distance, it's 2 from 2, isn't it? No, it's 2 wins from 3 starts. So I think sprinting seems to be his game. We're going to say 15-10.
Take as much of it you can.
15-10, that's where you're going to end your all to comes. Now let's go to our short list for the show, and we'll begin with my short list. And I've got place accumulator bankers. Paul said galore at the end of that sentence. Yeah. Well, I've got 3. Race 3, number 1, give me more time. I think that should definitely run in the top 3. Race 4, number 1, Waiting for Summer, best weighted. Looks hard to beat in that field, but Justin Snaith may have something to say with his runner. Race 8, well, Paul and I agree that Forest Spy, all he needs to do is bring his A game, and he should be too good. The 3-year-old, he's highly rated by the stable.
Where did they take that photo of you? You look so ecstatic.
I don't know where that was. I mean, it must have been somewhere.
One of your big quartets.
No, I don't know where that was, but thank me. They got me at the right place at the right time.
I looked at a photo of you and I, Dees, when we were presenting.
You sent me all those photos.
Of you and I when we were presenting 15, 18 years ago.
Hollywoodbets Scottsville.
I looked like a human javelin. You look like a jockey. I couldn't believe how good we were, Dees.
Oh, God.
But you know what the beauty is, Dees? We've retained our looks. We're very lucky. And the photo proves it.
You're too kind, Paul.
Right, let's have a look at mine. Right, Dees, I think all of these horses, I'm going to banker.
PA.
Yes, PA. I want to get this PA. And after going through it, I'm going to add that 8th race horse. So I have 4 bankers in my PADs. I'm going with Seismic Event. I think it'll win over the 5. Waiting for Summer, I'm very strong on. And Chronicles of Narnia, very good. And as I say, I'm throwing in the 8th race as well. You've really highlighted that one to me. So I've got 4 bankers in my PA. That's my play.
That's our play for Friday, the 14th of October. All the best, and hopefully your weekend starts off with a bang and you find all the winners. On behalf of the GTV team, Paul Lafferty and myself, Dees Dianan, have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully it begins on a winning note in Gqeberha on Friday. Take care. Salani Gashle.